Now, a lot of people they ask, Professor, why is this city so haunted? To understand the reason, of course, you must know some of the history.
That's the voice of Donovan King telling a ghost story on a guided tour in Old Montreal. We'll talk to him later. I'm Sarah Day, and this is Ghost Hunters. We're standing here in Place Royale. It's right here where hundreds of years ago, French colonists first founded what is now modern-day Montreal. It's right here in this very square that people who violated the law were flogged and sometimes even dismembered in public as a warning to others. It's creepy stories like this that help make Montreal one of the most haunted cities in North America. Tonight on Ghost Hunters, we're taking you to explore the ghosts of Montreal and to meet the people who live with them and seek them out. Tonight, we'll take you inside a home haunted by a real ghost. Also, we'll tell you about the Chaume ghost haunting. And if you've ever wanted to do some ghost hunting of your own, we'll tell you everything you need to have a successful paranormal experience. But first up, we take you to a live ghost stakeout. Reporter Emily White is in Westmount in front of a mansion that is supposedly one of the most haunted sites in the city. According to Montreal Paranormal Investigations, up to 100 ghosts are trapped at this property. Emily, can you fill us in?
Hi Sarah, Mo and I have just set up our camera outside 15 Belvedere Road, and as you can see from behind me, the house is completely dark. This is actually unusual because the house is usually illuminated every night, and this we know because Patrick Zakim, he's the founder of Montreal Ghost Tracking Group, said that the lights are usually always on throughout the house. So, you know, we're a little disappointed because we don't think we'll have as good of a view into the windows where we were told that the ghosts usually tend to congregate. I just spoke to a few neighbors. They were out for their night walk, and they confirmed what Zakim said and even called the house a light store, but they hadn't heard of the hauntings. So I don't know what we'll see, if we'll actually see anything at all, but I'm hoping that Mo and I could capture some footage. Right now, I want to show you some clips that Zakim himself captured on his last visit to the house. It's hard to make out just exactly what Zakim spotted, but he claims that there's a black shadow blocking the light in the window. Personally, I didn't see such a thing, so Mo and I are going to turn our camera, face the window, and hopefully capture some ghosts on our own. We'll keep you posted.
Well, Emily and Mo, I'm sure something's bound to pop up. We'll check in with you later. Now, this is not the first time that Emily and Mo have chased a ghost. There are rumors that the Grey Nun student residence at Concordia is haunted. Mo spoke to a student who lives there to find out if the rumors are true.
I heard about some people in the RC that kept hearing someone laughing in the pipes, and they just kept hearing a laugh in the pipes, and they were just freaking out about that.
When Concordia bought the student residence from the Sisters of Charity of Montreal, nothing was freaky about it. But it is a whole different story when you visit inside.
The fourth floor used to be a nursery. Nuns would tend to take care of sick babies here. And apparently just a bunch of babies died, and during an epidemic there was just the fact that some of them weren't buried, and just I know that there's the crypt downstairs You can't go into the crypt, and I heard about how they were trying to move those things because, I mean, it's a student residence, and they also do like babysitting service downstairs, so they'd rather not have that around. So they were, I remember someone mentioning that they were trying to move all those things out, but they couldn't.
This room, according to this unidentified neighbor, is in fact one of the most haunted places in the building.
My neighbor and I both heard the same voice, and we thought that each other had a neighbor over, but neither of us did.
When she was on that room, she had one incident, or I guess you could call it an incident, in which her mirror just spontaneously fell and broke.
It was like a girl speaking in French coming from the corners of both of our rooms, where our rooms meet. And I was confused because I know he doesn't speak any French, so I was wondering why he had someone over who did.
However, while Emily and I kept looking around to see if we can catch a glimpse of any supernatural activity in and around the compound, we didn't find any. There is a widespread feeling among the student residents of this former nunnery that this building is in fact haunted. But based on our own investigation, I couldn't disagree to this fact, neither agree to it. For Concordia Ghost Hunters, I'm Mo Mara.
Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, the idea of living in a haunted house is a pretty thrilling one. Now, paranormal activity can happen just about anywhere. It can bring you mystery and excitement, but it can also bring anxiety and fear. What is it like to live permanently in a haunted house? Reporter Amber Lebrun has more.
This is one house that's known to be haunted. Tucked away in a residential area, the occupants assure me things aren't always so quiet.
Started with one of my daughters. She saw him first, and she told me about him. And I told her, be nice to him because ghosts never hurt you. They're always kind to you. So I told her to make friends. She did. And then my other daughter saw him and described him differently than my first daughter until they got together and, oh my God, he's the same person. And then I saw him and I thought, okay, yeah, he fits the description that the two of them had. He's a young man. He's very good looking, and he's got this smile with great big white teeth that just super nice, friendly white teeth. But his hair is like all matted. And one of my daughters said dreadlocks, but it's not dreadlocks, it's more matted than dreadlocks. And it's like a reddish brown color. But it was his uniform. He had a blue uniform with a white shirt with ruffles and coming out the front.
Joe Cully also lives in this house and has witnessed some unexplainable things.
In this room in particular, some strange things have happened. For example, my laptop has turned itself on several times by itself. But that's more recent. When I first came here, the strangest thing was that there's a vent in the ceiling that's fallen down a couple of times. First time it was just, I was in the room and it just fell straight on the floor for no reason. And the second time I wasn't in the room but I came in and it had fallen not in a directly straight line as gravity would suggest, but it had fallen over and was sitting in the center of my bed.
One of the things when we're leaving home and going on vacation, my mother always said, you should circle your house in light for protection. So I always circle my house in light and I say to the ghost, you're in charge, so don't break that light bar.
The only other unusual thing that I came across was the fire alarm going off one day. This was on a day that the washing machine wasn't working and the people who owned the house were replacing it, and I had a new one delivered and installed by the delivery guys. So there was a lot of noise and banging and crashing around that morning, and you know, taking the old machine up the stairs and bringing the new one down and installing it and all the rest. Lots of commotion. About an hour after they left, the smoke alarm went off, and the man who owns the house came down to disconnect it because there was no smoke. And it was not connected to the battery, but it was going off all the same. So he pulled it off the ceiling because he didn't know how else to stop it. Eventually it stopped. And then the second fire alarm, the one that was located in the basement itself, went off. Again, he went to disconnect the battery and found that it wasn't connected either.
I think everybody that's come here in one way or another has experienced him, whether it be the sounds of his footprints or the flushing of the toilet or the other stuff that he does. I don't want him to leave. I don't want him to, you know, they talk about ghosts crossing over and all the rest of it. I like him and he protects the house and he's part of our family as far as I'm concerned, and I don't want him to leave. I just want him to know that.
For Paranormal Montreal, I'm Amber Lebrun.
We're standing outside the Maison Saint-Gabriel. It's a restaurant in Old Montreal, and it's also one of the most haunted places here. There's a ghost here, a 5-year-old girl who was killed in a fire that ravaged most of the building years ago. It's one of the many stops on the Fantôme Montréal tours. 15 actors take visitors to Montreal on a ghostly tour through the city. We spoke earlier about Donovan King. He's one of the guides. I sat down with him to find out just how to tell a good ghost story.
Glossed over.
King is a performer, activist, and cultural worker who moonlights giving ghost tours and lectures like this one. Sometimes he uses a creepy character in order to tell a story, but overall he thinks the best spooky stories incorporate a deeper meaning.
Ideally, the story will make people a little bit weirded out. It will make them think a little bit differently. It might frighten them a little bit, but it's certainly going to leave them with a lasting impression and leave them feeling disturbed. An even better one is where you can put some type of hidden history in there, some sort of social commentary, something that reflects on the present, so the people can walk away with a story that will make them think about what's happening now.
One example is King's favorite story, the ghost of McTavish, a rich but greedy Scottish Montrealer. He died before he could enjoy his wealth. King says he's an agnostic when it comes to ghosts, though he's had some interesting experiences giving tours at the Tower of London.
That's because I have experienced ghost-like things happening that I cannot explain.
But with the city's history, he believes that Montreal has a wealth of supernatural tales.
There's always conflicts between different people with different ideas as to how the place should be, and I think it's a result of these conflicts and the resulting, tragedies and horrors that have happened that has resulted in so much haunting.
King does his own research and is writing a book about McTavish. The guided ghost tours start up this summer. Now, it's been a while, so we're going to check in with Emily. Emily, how are things going on over at the mansion?
Hi Sarah, we've been outside for some time now, and though we haven't seen anything too suspicious, the lights in the upstairs have been turned on. This is more than a little bit spooky, because Zach mentioned that most of where he's seen his ghosts are in this upstairs window. We're going to keep an eye out, but in the meantime, here's a clip of a conversation I had with him via Skype. Take a look.
I know you went there with a few of the members. Did anyone have a feeling, a sense?
We got two traffics. The first said that there's a woman on the top floor. She said the same floor that I saw the figure, the female. She said she keeps going back and forth. It's like she's worried. She has a baby and she's worried on the baby. She keeps going back and forth on the top floor.
Like she's pacing?
Pacing, yeah, exactly. We don't know if she's a member of the house or not, but this is what the second picked up.
So you would agree that the house is haunted by?
Not only that, the vibe that gives off is very, very strong. Like you have 100 ghosts, all enclosed in one place. It's very intense.
100?
Yeah, it's not more.
Emily, are you there? I think we're having some tech. Okay.
Oh, Mud. I see it. Do you see it?
Yes, I see it.
Sarah, I don't know if you're here, and I don't know if you saw what I just saw, but there was definitely a figure in the upstairs window. And obviously, I can't say if this was something paranormal, but I know enough to know that I'm pretty freaked out, and Mo looks the same. There's also cats on the wall, and they're like talking to each other. The whole atmosphere is just downright spooky. I'm out of here. For Ghost Hunters, I'm Emily White, and Sarah, back to you.
Okay, Emily and Mo, just check in with us later. Let us know that you're okay. That was a live ghost stakeout in Westmount. Now, ghosts don't just inhabit homes. Take Green Avenue, for example. Today it's known for its little shops and boutiques, but that was not the case 40 years ago. Montreal rock radio station CHOM 97.7 used to be located there, and its night DJs were haunted by what is now known today as the CHOM ghost. Michelle Boyer spooks you with this report.
The CHOM ghost. What may be now considered legend was very real to those who lived it 40 years ago. Here's the story.
There's a place for sale right now at the corner of Green Avenue and St. Catherine Street, and it's called Henrietta Anthony Antiques. The woman who owns that business is Henrietta Anthony, whose husband was the CHOM ghost. Her husband lived and worked with her in a building on Green Avenue. It was 1355 Green Avenue. So it turns out that Henrietta Anthony's husband killed himself with a shotgun on the 3rd floor of 1355 Green Avenue. And thus was born, or thus died, the CHOM ghost. Daniel Richler, Mordecai's son, was the morning guy at CHOM the year I started in 1977. And Daniel claimed that he would see the CHOM ghost. There was a vending machine in the small kitchen on the 2nd floor. And so Daniel would claim that he would see this guy, but he would only see his feet sticking out of the vending machine at the bottom and his head at the top.
Then in 1978, CHOM's office manager hired a priest, a nun, and a psychic to perform an exorcism. Eventually, the station moved across the street and the original building burned down. But to this day, the front door of 1355 Green Avenue is at the new CHOM studios, maybe simply as a reminder. Michelle Boyer, Ghost Hunters.
Well, now we can see that ghosts don't discriminate. They'll just as easily haunt a radio station as they'll do a home. Now, if you're looking to do some ghost hunting on your own, here are a couple of tips to help you on your way.
A good ghost hunting kit should have these basic items: a digital or film camera, a sound recorder, a flashlight, and extra batteries and chargers for these items, since paranormal activity is known to sap battery life. Also bring a first aid kit, notepad and pen, and a snack can't hurt either, since you might be up all night. Some ghost hunters splurge on big-ticket items like motion sensors and Geiger counters to measure radiation. If you're worried about safety, one ghost hunter told us she imagines a circle of white light around her to ward off danger. But you should also research your location and make a plan before you leave. If you're looking for partners, head to www.meetup.org. One Montreal Ghost Hunters group gathers here. Anyone can join their outings.
And you should be good to go. I'm Sarah Day for Ghost Hunters. Stay spooky, Montreal.
So we just finished our tour of Grey Nuns, and I have to admit I was pretty freaked out with some of the stories they said, voices, flying babies, and we actually found out that Hingston Hall might be haunted too. So I'm just glad I'm from Montreal and I don't have to live in any of these residences, because I believe in this stuff and I don't think they're lying when they say these places are haunted.
I don't think I can come here alone at all, and I don't even have the guts to come here around 3 a.m. in the morning. No way, no freaking way. Like, I'm really scared.